as you say, there seems to be a philosophy out of the sheriff's department at the jail about getting people out of the jail as quickly as possible.
That is a policy, a philosophy that's been in place for a while. And basically, all the sheriff's department is responsible for is booking the prisoner in a timely fashion. As far as bonding out, that is the duty of the person that's been incarcerated to find a way to get out. We can't deny them access to a phone, to an attorney, and the right to make bond. But that all falls on the person that's incarcerated, not on the sheriff's department.
And so, do you see a pattern that the sheriff can correct in the interest of public safety?
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that I'm running for the office of sheriff. Is I think that is a philosophy that is through the department and the jail, which I think is probably the number one responsibility of the sheriff is the jail, and that it should be through training, through meetings with the people working in the jail to show that our number one job in the jail is the safety of that inmate, to make sure they get booked in a timely fashion. Don't deny them any privileges and rights that they have, and keep it in a safe environment for those who are incarcerated and for those people who work inside the jail office. That is the job of the jail.
Now, the people on the outside, the folks against whom violent offenses were perpetrated, where do they benefit?
Well, first off, if you had people that we arrest, per our Constitution, everybody is innocent till proven guilty. Bond is not punishment. Bond is simply a chance for somebody to put up some type of bail before they get out, before they have a hearing, before they have their trial. It is something that everybody has a right to unless a judge orders differently. But it boils back that it's not the responsibility of the sheriff or the jail to get that person out. That falls on the responsibility of that individual, unless they're extremely extenuating circumstances.
And do you know, how is it that the staff of the sheriff's department at present encourages the release of folks?
I think what has happened over quite some time now is that there was a concern of jail overcrowding at McLennan County Jail. We now have a brand new facility that's practically empty, but I think the philosophy still remains the same. And I think that philosophy also stems from, and this has been told to us by the current sheriff, is the concern for liability, that something happens to that person while they're incarcerated, they're injured, they take sick, somehow they lose their life in the jail. But if those are things that are concerns or for liability, then that tells me that there's something lacking in training, because that shouldn't be a main concern, that while that person is in jail, that something happens to them. Once again, that falls back on what is the responsibility of the sheriff, and that is to maintain safety inside the jail. But I think liability concerns that something's going to happen to somebody who's incarcerated and they're going to come back and sue you. If you're going to think that and worry about that all the time, you've gotten to the wrong profession, because that's always a possibility.
Captain Witt, could you share with our readers your qualifications, your training, because I understand it's quite extensive.
I've been in law enforcement. I've worked here for my department for 29 years next month. I've started out as a patrol officer, moved up through the ranks as a sergeant. I've worked as a narcotics investigator, criminal investigator. I've served on the SWAT team. I have been and still a hostage negotiator. I've worked as a detective. I've worked as a community resource officer. I've taught DARE for about 6 years as one of my assignments at Woodway. Currently, I am a captain, and I oversee I'm what's known as the administrative captain. I'm over the criminal investigations division, communications, municipal court, code enforcement, and animal control. So I handle a large variety of things here at the department. Of course, one of my jobs is reviewing every day all the reports that our officers file. And I liaison a lot with the jail to make sure that when our prisoners, when we arrest people, that's handled properly. So experience, I've got a lot of it in there, got a lot of time in the job.
And you have Master Peace Officer certification from TCLOS.
That is correct. As in TCLOS, Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Education, you have your basic, intermediate, advanced, and masters, and I have the master certificate.
Recently we spoke, and you mentioned to me a particular case involving an application for protective order in a domestic violence situation. And you said that somehow or the other, once y'all had the perpetrator locked up down on Highway 6, the Sheriff's Department staff was working, they weren't helping y'all get how did that take place?
Well, what had happened, we had arrested a person for a Class C violation of family violence. That's the lowest level that you can arrest somebody for family violence. We had concerns, as did the victim, that her husband had made threats that he was going to kill her, and in fact there was evidence that he had strangled her in the past. When we filled out the affidavit for the emergency protective order, we put all that in there. We were turned down for the protective order because they said that they can't get them for Class C's. Well, I'm not aware of any Class C protective order. Protective orders don't fall into that category. And I think that's where there seems to be an argument about whether or not you can actually get this. We've got them in the past, and sometimes they get denied because it was a Class C arrest. But if you have somebody that we have concern and the victim has concern that their life could be in danger, I think that's where it's really important that that protective order be in place. And that is an order that is enforceable by arrest. So that has happened in the past. That is still something we're working toward, hopefully not to have those problems in the future.
And is the application denied by whom? A judge or?
It's looked at by a judge, and it's whichever judge is hearing cases that morning.
I understand.
And my understanding was there were two different judges, one judge and one JP, that both refused to sign off on it.
Well, I want to thank you for this interview. It's very candid, and good luck on your race for sheriff, sir.
Thank you.